I'm sure you know the feeling when you just don't feel like it, so you need an excuse. From telling your boss that you've caught a nasty case of the sniffles to telling your partner that you're stuck in standstill traffic on the motorway when in actuality you're playing golf instead of attending that family function that they definitely told you about weeks ago. It can happen to the best of us, so why not footballers? Me again, that guy you subscribe to on YouTube, and this truthfully might be the dumbest FM video I've ever made. But here we are, it's probably why you're here. This all started on stream last week when we were talking about strange injuries that players had had in the past, and we posited the fact that surely some of them must have just been lies to cover up something much more embarrassing. So it got us thinking, what if every injury in the game was just an excuse to get out of playing? And so, a few days later, and with a lot of help from Twitch chat, glued to the M25 we find ourselves with a database entirely full of them. In this database, every single injury in the game has been replaced with an excuse as for why the player won't be showing up, from the slightly believable to the downright ridiculous. I'll of course link the database file down in the description to the video, and at the time of recording this, I'm trying to work on a version that actually has the normal game injuries in it as well, with all this stuff as an addendum, but the editor's being weird about me duplicating entries too many times, and it won't let me go past a certain point. It's very frustrating, so I'll update in that description if I do manage to fix that. So just be warned, this database currently does replace every injury in the game with this stuff. Probably not that useful for you in a long-term save unless you really are committed to the memes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play through a season with Rotherham United, because reasons, and we're going to see how many of these injuries we can trigger over the course of this season, because of course they are done on rarity based on the original injuries that they replaced. And I've pretty much forgotten 90% of the things that are in here anyway, because there's like well over 100 of them, and most of those ideas came from Twitch chat, not me. Oh, and there's a special Brucey bonus at the end. I've also got another database simmed into the future for 10 years. This time it's normal injuries, but they are 10 times longer than normal. It's all going to be a bit of a laugh, so let's have some early Christmas cheer, I suppose. Let's get started, shall we? Oh yeah, and I'm using the fake players and staff options on all of these databases at the moment, for obvious reasons which will become more clear as we get into it. So we're here at Rotherham, and if you've never used the fake players and staff option, basically what it does is it replaces all the players in the games with regens, except they're not really. They're still essentially the same people. It just makes them into regens with different names and stuff. I think it's kind of cool, but I wish it would just literally create a brand new database with regens. That would be kind of sick. But nevertheless, that's where we are, and here we are at Rotherham United. For the purposes of this save as well, obviously I'll be instant resulting all the matches because we don't actually care what's going on in the game, but I will be testing out my tactic from stream with Rotherham to see if it's actually not awful, particularly as we're expected to come bottom this season, so that'll be an interesting experiment nevertheless. So I guess the first thing we should do is probably check out the Rotherham injury update, because some players are obviously injured at the start of a save, and well, we've already got several players out with various different things, such as Scott Hardy here, who's going to grab a drink before the game but accidentally ended up at the pub. 3 to 4 months. It's a big pub. Ross Moore here is out for 2 to 4 months travelling on Southern Rail. Understandable. Moving a little bit further down, Ross Moore here claims to have gone on I'm a Celebrity. I'm sure we would have noticed that. Gary Paul thought the game was next week. And Ken Harvey is waiting for an important Amazon package that needs to be signed for. God knows how long he'll be out for. It's also worth noting that the way this has been set up is that all of these injuries are set as illnesses in the game, because it means they can occur outside of matches more frequently, and also they can never occur in the matches either. You don't get a player leaving to a lumberjack convention in the middle of the game. That would be silly. And we wouldn't want things to get, stupid now, will we? We're going to go through the season. I'll keep you up to date with how we're actually doing with Rotherham occasionally, because I know you're super interested in that as well. Rotherham fans be like, well, yes, obviously. But mostly I'll be focusing on when we get injuries, because it won't be in matches. Now, the likelihood of us even seeing 25% of what's in this database in today's video is fairly slim, so I would advise you to download it yourself and just have a little look through, because some of the things that chat suggested to me are unhinged, to be honest. And that's discounted the stuff that I put in there personally. And we have our first one. Rory Hughes is suffering from a high amount of traffic due to roadworks near his house. That's fair enough. Out for one day. I believe you. Sort of. And in case you were wondering how this works in the editor, if you want to mess around with this stuff yourself, obviously this is the injury here, and you'll see that this is the way that one is constructed. So the name is the bit that you'll see in that box. That will appear in this bit here. And the actual sentence name is this section you'll see under here, and you set the minimum days, the extra days in there too. Inactive ratio, I believe, is how long you have to wait before this injury can occur again. The occurrence ratio is set between, well, technically it's between 5 and 1, but some of them have a hard-coded amount to be even higher than that, like this one. This sets if it can be a recurring injury, obviously contagious for things like colds in the actual game, and you can set all this stuff down here and all kinds of other things. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can even change which seasons it occurs in. The ones in this database are all fairly simple. All illnesses, internal injury, minor injuries for the most part, and no causes, because it makes it easier for me to get the nomenclature right. Some of them do have different seasonal things, though, as you'll find out soon. But I did want to give you a quick rundown of how you could do this if you want to make some changes yourself and just have a bit of fun with it after all, because the game is supposed to be fun. Generally speaking, the longer the injury, the less likely it is to happen, and therefore the more unhinged the reasoning is behind it. That's pretty much the logic we've got here. So what I'm saying is I'd really like someone to get a 9-month injury just so we can see what mad stuff gets spouted out. Okay, we've got a new one. Haven't actually seen this one yet. What we going for? And he's got a cough. Yeah, all right, mate. Another one up towards the top here. What we saying this time? None of our business. Right, not very nice, is it? Jake Buxton is out with a bad horoscope. When were you born? June. Right. Yeah, that's a very Gemini thing to do. Oh, we got a double whammy up here. Buxton... Okay, he's recovered from his bad horoscope. What's hit him this time? He's playing Fortnite. Bro... I guess it's only one day out, right? Okay, 11. New entry, perhaps. He's lost in the woods. I think that's our starting goalkeeper as well. Another one. Ah, here we go. Disappointed to report that striker Ken Knight is suffering from the need to wait at home for an important Amazon package that needs signing for 3 to 4 months. Understandable, my friend. Have a nice time. He's only 16. Surely his mum can do that for him, right? The club have just appointed a new physio. I don't think that's going to help. Unless bro comes with like a polygraph test, then maybe we could get somewhere. There are a few more occurring in here, but I'm skipping any ones I've already shown you. See what Rosh is up to this time. He's suffering from not knowing what kit to wear for training. He's going to be out for a while with that indecisiveness, apparently. I just saw on the ticker that a Coventry City player has been ruled out for 7 months. I must know why, because if it's 7 months, it's got to be serious. Who are we saying? I don't know who it was. It's got to be one of these two, right? What you out for? Currently receiving medical treatment for a long wait for a GP appointment. Stuff like 7 months. Yeah, that makes sense. And Luke Langford here is currently undergoing treatment for a desire for a gap year. So that's quite a short gap year. Since I know you're all wondering, 12th in the league. 2 wins out of 4. Not bad, frankly. What, predicted bottom? No. Not in my team of liars. Leeds also have 8 injuries. What we got here? So Joshua Wood, currently receiving medical treatment for an insistent that he signed for Rotherham and not us in training. Bro, I wish it were true. What about Cameron Ross? What's up with him? Got lost in the ball pit. Robert Anderson has climbed down from the tree that he claimed to be stuck in, and at least he's being honest with us, right? Alan Patton's got a case of the Mondays. Brother, you're a day late. Jake Buxton is suffering from a row replacement bus, and believe me, I feel that. Wasn't that in your horoscope, bud? Sorry, this man laughs at own jokes. I forgot this was in here. Gary Paul is suffering from joining a doomsday cult and is going to be out for 6 to 7 months. You'd think with it being a doomsday cult, they'd be able to be a bit more specific about the end times, but I guess it's a doomsday cult, right? But you heard it here first. The world is going to end sometime between March and April 2024. Well, apparently. If it does, blame Gary Paul and his disciples. He finally got one. Ross Moore is suffering from a case of the Mondays on a Monday. Ross, I rate that. I rate that from you. In fact, so much is it that he's actually extended it to next Monday. Update on the league. It's going okay. We're staying up currently. We were in the playoffs at one point. I promise it was happening, and then we lost 3 in a row, but we don't talk about that. Well, Eduardo Duarte is suffering from not being subscribed to me on YouTube. I can't promise that it will get you 3 to 4 weeks off work, but maybe 2. At a push. That isn't actually in the proper database, don't worry. Billy Morgan is suffering from a 10-season Netflix binge. To be fair, if you can watch 10 seasons, it depends how long the seasons are, really, I suppose. If you're talking like a normal Netflix one, we're guessing like 10 episodes. But what if it's like one of those syndicated TV shows that's got like 24 episodes? 10 seasons, that's a lot of time, Billy. I think I've analysed this too much. Yeah, it wasn't great. I was starting to believe that the Doomsday Cult might have actually been a thing once we were getting around about this point, but luckily we've pulled it back. Andrew Needham is suffering from waiting for the kettle to boil while staring intently at it. 3 to 5 months. Have you learned nothing? Ken Harvey is suffering from his dog looking sad when he tried to leave the house. That I can understand. Something about these injuries as well. When you set them to recurring, that means that if it happens twice, basically nothing really changes, except that the game adds a really passive-aggressive nomenclature at the end where it just says, again, which works brilliantly when he attends his grandma's funeral. Again. And look, not to lead my own trumpet orchestra here, but we're actually, in amongst all of this, 11th in the league, and have actually won 4 in a row now. It's going remarkably well. In before, this entire video was actually just a backdoor way of showing you this tactic we've been trying. Screw it, I'll put the tactic link in the description just in case you want it, because, well, you might as well get something out of this, right? It's a pretty basic 4-4-2, just with the poacher that's set to mark the opposition centre-back there to keep him further forward a lot of the time. It just seems to work quite nicely. We've enjoyed it. Hopefully it'll work for you too. Ben Craven certainly doesn't, as it is raining outside. 2 to 3 weeks. I suppose it is December. Wonder how Gary's getting on with the cult of the everlasting damnation. Probably sat at home with his feet up on the table being like, I can't believe they fell for that. Actually getting a little bit silly now. But there we go. Central defender Andrew Harrison is suffering from a really valid reason. Oh wait, is that a tunnel? Ipswich just got a 5-month injury. I saw it on the ticker. What are we saying? Where are you, Ipswich? Oh, damn. It was Jamie Jeffs. Right, it said 5 months. Desire to read the Wheel of Time series. Mate, you're going to need longer than that. Sorry, that was what I genuinely forgot about. Encasing himself in an underground bunker as he thought Independence Day was real. Only 3 weeks, to be fair. Magnus Wind here at Leicester is doing last-minute Christmas shopping. Understandable. It is literally the 23rd of December. If you're going to do it now. He's in the recovery phase from travelling on Southern Rail. Matthew McDonald believes he's been replaced by an imposter who's an accountant. Meanwhile, in the Premier League, Didier Coadio is having a desire to try professional cricket for a bit. It's the Michael Jordan method, sort of. And William Fenton is currently in the rehabilitation phase of his recovery from his stepsister getting stuck in a washing machine. That was definitely chat. That was not... Blame chat for that. Andrew Harrison has now apparently run out of petrol 12 miles south of Coventry. You're driving the wrong way. Bit early, mate. We don't actually play Coventry till March, unless it's part of the Doomsday thing again. So you remember that part where I was gloating about how well we were doing? Yeah, we've gained 1 point since then. It's not great. We haven't managed to win, but it's fine. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. So, for those of you unaware, FM has an extremely rare mechanic, which is where players can actually get wildly freakish injuries that occur maybe one time in a 30-year save. It very rarely ever happens. To give you an idea, a couple of years ago on my Treaty United save in Ireland, a player fell out of a loft and injured his spine, and last year I had a player injure themselves in a freak domestic accident. And when I saw that one of our players got injured, I went, what the hell, has something broken? But no, because the medical team at Brisbane Roar have sent Rotherham details of an injury to Rory Hughes, who is currently on loan. I'm disappointed to report that left back has arrived at the club today after suffering Mercury being in retrograde, which he claims was caused by a freak accident at home. I completely forgot about that mechanic, and I'm so happy that we're actually seeing it in this video. I'm sure it wasn't Mercury in the thermometer, Rory. And one of the things I've been railing for years in FM is more of stuff, not the Mercury being in retrograde part, but the fact that players can have a little bit more flavour to them by stuff like that happening a little bit more often, basically. Robert Anderson is suffering from being up all night playing GTA 6. It's January 24. I don't know what you're playing, Robert, but it ain't that. I set that one deliberately rare so it would almost never occur, but bro's apparently got alpha access. Once again, our second case of the Monday is occurring on a Monday. It's also a bit concerned that we've now got 2 players out with none of our business. No, sorry, a third one. A third one has now decided to go down with none of our business. Tom Rimmer's gone for a holiday with the lads as it's the only time they can get off work. I mean, it's January, Tom. Where are you going? And Michael Masterson is suffering from a priest telling him his house was haunted, so he's waiting for an exorcist. 2 to 4. That's not bad, actually. Expedited shipping on The Exorcist. Bro just blatantly ordered it on Blu-ray. Stephen Mullen is suffering from getting stuck on his drive after his gate wouldn't open. That's the old Ross McCormack job. Meanwhile, Robert Anderson is still playing GTA 6, apparently. But it looks like Gary is close to realizing that the world might not be ending. Gary Paul is back from his Doomsday cult, but now has lost the car keys. It's now like the 20th of April, and it feels like we haven't really had anything happen to us in that sense for like over a month now. It's like the players have just got wise to the fact that we just don't believe them anymore. Got our very own case of Southern Rail. League-wise, in the end, can we talk about Leeds with 110 points and Ipswich with 103? Norwich get 98 and don't get promoted. That's not the story. We come 14th. Not bad. 63 points, 14th place. Probably one of Rotherham's best finishes since I think the 80s, maybe? Not awful, honestly. So if you were looking for a tactic to try, it's probably not good for underdog teams anyway, but it will still do the job. 63 points in the first season of the Championship without any signings is not bad. But one thing you will notice about it, though, is it scores a lot of goals. 93 goals scored, 87 conceded. At one point, we were the top scorers in the league, but you will go on quite a lot of good runs, followed by bad runs, followed by good runs, followed by bad runs, followed by good runs. And you see what I mean? It's very inconsistent. So what I'm going to do now is have a little look around the leagues to see if I can find any of the crazy rare ones, just to finish off before we go look at the 10 times injury database. Corey Margetson's gone on Love Island. Idris Bala is currently undergoing treatment for being arrested after being mistaken for a criminal on the run. Understandable. Mistaken identity happens to the best of us, including Scotch Egg. I'm glad that we got the one from the thumbnail. Edwin Stones is currently locked in a public toilet. Mamadou Traore is in treatment for it being a full moon and he now believes he's a werewolf. Point being that barely even scratches the surface of some of the stuff is in here. I've probably only shown you 25 to 30 of them today, and there is well over 100, but you'll have to discover those for yourself by having a little look around. So now, over to the 10x injuries. So basically what I did, I went into the database and I made every injury 10 times longer. Now, there is a limit. Some of the ones that are really long, it wouldn't let me go too far because the maximum length of time you can have a player out injured is 2 years, followed by an extra 2 years. So technically some of the longer ones could only go up to a maximum of 4 years. But it does mean that a lot of them did. And this is where it gets wild. So this database is in 2033, so 10 years into the future. And before we do anything else, we're just going to look through the squads of the Premier League teams to see how many players are injured and how long they're out for before I show you the progression of the leagues over that time. But I'm telling you this, I bet you there's been some weird stuff because of the injuries. I'll quickly begin to realize that it seems that the game does have a hard limit of 2 years, even if you set it for the base injury to be 2 years and then have an extra days of 2 years. It seems to hard lock at 2. Is that my regen? I forgot that I had the Patreon regen file and my own regens just rocked up at Forest. How long am I out for? 17 months. It's probably for the best of Nottingham Forest, honestly. Am I any good? Do you know what? I'm a lot better in here than I am in my Siren save. Let's put it that way. Yeah, that's a shame. It seems the game hard locks it. 24 months, but that's probably quite recent, right? Oh, no, wait. That was January 2023. So technically, it can go beyond it. Just very, very rarely indeed. Oh, look at the injury list. The least injuries is Liverpool with 10. The most is Everton with 25. That's like an entire squad. Oh, damn, that's a lot of scrolling. Okay, I should have just looked at this list to begin with, really, shouldn't I? So Nathan Lloyd out for 12 to 18 months there. Villa have a guy out for 15 to 24 months. Leicester at 18 months to 2 years. They're not even bothering to give a month one on that one. I guess it just, if it goes over 24 months, they're just like, we don't know. Drilling has begun next door. I don't know if you can hear that. That is not the sound of flatulence. That's the drilling next door. 19 months, 18 months, 12 months. Hey, Man United got it on lock. Brighton with 20 months. There we go, another 2 years. Brentford, it seems like cruciate ligaments will really do you. In fact, I think I've only ever seen the game say year once, and that was when my player got a serious viral infection. Those of you that watched the Red Star save back in the day will remember what happened with Nath Peshnik, who was out for, I think, 2 years in that save nearly with a serious viral infection, which is, again, an insanely rare injury. In fact, I don't even know if players can actually get that injury in the game anymore, or whether it's just hard-coded for existing illnesses. Right, let's take a little look at the league, and then we can wrap this mess up. So I've gone back to the start. First season is actually fairly straightforward, really. As you'd expect, Villa doing very well in real life, which makes sense there. Luton actually stay up. Maybe they just avoided injuries. Did anything wild start to happen? Well, I mean, yeah. Brentford came second in the second season of the save. That's the second. This is not an edited database in the sense that the players are any different. They just avoided injuries. Did Brentford just work in every one of these simulations? Forest as well, very good in there too. Chelsea less so, which is weird because you'd think they'd be able to deal with that with the squad depth they have. But there you go. Brighton also top 4. Luton, again, staying in the Premier League nice and comfortably. Man United got relegated. Man United got relegated 4 years into the save, and Brentford won the title. I realise that I'm skitting over Brentford winning the title there and Bournemouth coming fourth, but Man United got relegated in the 3rd or 4th season of the save. What the hell happened there? I wish I could find out what the hell happened there, but my God. They conceded 83 goals. They must have just had the worst possible injuries through that period. Yep, and straight back into 5th spot. They must have spent an entire year healing. City back on top. Arsenal come bottom. That's still only season 6 or 7, and Arsenal are relegated with only 69 goals conceded. Nice. But they do only get 26 points there. No one is safe. I'll be honest, I didn't expect to see such wild fluctuations of this just because of injuries. Also, City apparently had no injuries that season as they get 102 points and 112 goals. They've obviously found some special sauce. Man United straight back into the top 4 again. Arsenal will no doubt be back again. And they get relegated again. I realise players leave and stuff when teams go down, but, I mean, where are you going to go? You're not going to pass your medical, are you? That's wild. Man United come 14th but will get into the Conference League. Wolves then go and win a title, as Sunderland get relegated in there, but Wolves just pulling a random title out their arse with 83 points, like the Leicester season. And then it's back to normal services again. Arsenal stay up this time. Only just, though. They must have been decimated. I wonder what their squad looks like. Bukayo Saka is still there. So big respect for Bukayo Saka for sticking around. But did anyone else? Smith Rowe, Saka. I think that might be it, you know. I think everyone else pissed off. So there we go. A bit of a wild ride. I'm sure you'll agree. Random stuff for me today. I realize this is just a very strange video, but, you know, I like to make weird stuff from time to time. Most of the time, to be honest with you. Got a recap for the latest season of Sirens coming up early next week. And then after that, a World Cup, but only for uncapped players. So keep an eye on that, and I'll see you guys very soon. Drop a like if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.